story of a man named Stanley. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement?
Zdravím vás, gamery! Vážení diváci, vítajte na začiatku novej série na mojom Let's Play kanáli. Ja som Charlie a ideme sa ponoriť do hlbín rozprávania, kde veľa možností nastane, lebo Stanley Parable je hra, ktorá dokáže otočiť každú myseľ, spôsobiť zmetok a confusion, akokoľvek to nazvete. Lebo je to umelecké dielo. Nehral som konkrétne túto verziu hry, hral som iba Stanley Parable, tradičnú verziu, ale to už je aj 6-7 rokov do toho, že si málo pamätám. Takže ideme na to, alebo prečo to zdržovať, poďme sa baviť, poďme si nechať vybuchnúť našu myseľ, ako sa hovorí mindblownúť. Nemáme tu neoficiálnu češtinu, ani oficiálnu. Žiaľ, na pôvodnú verziu hry vznikla, ale na túto zatiaľ nevznikla a asi už ani nevznikne. Uvidíme. Každopádne, pri tejto hre som neplánoval mať facecam, ale keďže je tu rozprávač, ktorý je, ak si dobre pamätám, veľmi geniálny, tak radšej dám ten ksík, aby ste som videli nejakú reakciu, lebo bude to veľká zábava. Poďme na to.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
OK. Takže nemáme žiadne povely. Sme tu. Haló? OK. Ako je táto hra, kto na to nepozná, tak spozná, čo to je za krásne dielo. Ja si pamätám tu už na tú verziu trošku. Ale najprv pôjdeme pekne podľa rozprávača. Poviem, že ľudia, najprv nerobme žiadne hovadiny. Je to uvítanie. Haló?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No, možno si len minul memo, no. Haló? Oh. OK. Neznášam pondelky. No, niekto tu niečo vylial. Aká divná miestnosť.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
OK. 413. Kto má takú peknú kanceláriu s oknom? OK, bez čísla.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Nikto nič nemente bez porady s manažerom bielej tabule. OK. Inspekcia, je to legálne. OK, ale nikto tu nie je. Hej, Achievement. Nemôžeš skákať, je to vypnuté. Ale pritom, keď skočíte do nastavení, tak ešte ako je tu space na skok. OK. Každý je unikátny, číslo týchto slajdov, OK. Tretina slajdy, približne, OK. Iha, OK. Čo ľudia chcú? Veci. Violet James si vyhodený. Peniaze, viac peňazí, veci. Ale s peniazmi si môžu kúpiť viac veci. Grafy o veciach plus veci. Máme náš nový produkt. Tak toto robíme, my robíme grafy o peniazoch. Dobre. Synergizovať jadrové hodnoty. OK, naše nejaké výdavky, OK. Monetizovať free to play? Tuto začalo, ľudia. Preto všetky tie hry sú také hnusné, tie mikrotransakcie. Toto si pamätám. Túto miestnosť si pamätám. To budeme riešiť až potom, ľudia. Až keď prejdeme. A najprv počujeme si celkovo našeho Milo.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Isté, šéfe. Wow. Byť bohatý je zločin? Spáchať zločin. Nie je to bohatstvo? Čo je, aký by bol život, keby si môžeš zvoliť... keby si môžeš zvoliť iba jeden. Pekný záchod. Extrémne záchody, OK, dobre. No vidíme, musí to byť luxus, že? Už sa nemôžeme vrátiť. OK, sekretárka. To je kancelária.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known
Stanley
this.
to nemohol vôbec vedieť, no. No, presne tak. Ako sme vedeli tajný kód 2845, že? To vôbec nemáme ako vedieť, ľudia. Že by sme tu niekde našli ten PIN kód.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Čistá náhoda, ľudia. 2845.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Okay. Okay. To sme teda dopadli, no. Loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
A to je super. Okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Útek. Nie, najprv pekne podľa rozprávača poďme. Nás tu zatvorili. Pomoc!
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Vítajte v Matrixe. To nevidel, tak ho lutujem.
Now the monitors jumped to life.
Vyhodený.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
To dúfam, že nie.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Takže... off?
Blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won!
Yes!
He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go.
Let go.
No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his.
Krásna zeleň.
That was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing.
Presne.
Stanley stepped through the open door.
Tak. Aj keď je podivné, že takéto veľké dvere sú to, že?
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Dokončili sme hru. Ľudia, ďakujem, že ste sledovali túto sériu. Bolo veľmi dobré vás zase vidieť. Ďakujem, že ste si pozreli. Myslím si, že... Ale kdeže? Samozrejme, že len začíname. To sme len počúvali. Rozkazy. Takže. Počkať. Myslím si, že dá sa robiť aj táto vec.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy.
1, 2.
Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come.
Presne tak.
Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer.
No super.
Here it comes.
A? Zase sme dokončili hru, ľudia. Ale nie. Dobre, to máme teda tradičný koniec, teda ísť po rozprávačovi. Môžeme zostať v kanclíku. Tempo definitívne zatvoríme. Už sa nedá. Ak si dobre pamätám, hej, a teraz je to slúčka. A musíte odhalovať. Dobre, povedal by som, že najprv pôjdem ako keby po jeho pokynoch. Ale niečo občas zmeníme. Napríklad, je tu jeden achievement, ktorý si pamätám. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement?
Robím to pre achievement.
Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth?
Veď stačí, nie?
No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. Measly 5 clicks.
Čo?
I suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort.
20 krát, dobre. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20!
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction
Ale no tak si jeden.
Effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
OK. On sa ozve, ja to nebudem počítať. Ja ti prevíte, ja ten achievement chcem.
No, I'm still not feeling it.
No tak už
I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley.
No tak.
I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost.
Tak čo potrebujeme?
Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
417. OK, 417. 417, ešte nie. Dobre. Takže dáme 20 klikov sem.
Great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
Čo? 437. 400. Kde je 400? Tu.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere.
Výborne.
Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
15. 415. Kde je 415?
Now, back to door number 437.
No tak, zase ma nemusíš vrácať takto naspäť. 437.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine. All right, back to room 417. I'm feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
Ty už to cítiš? Ja to necítim. Myslím, že ma totálne trolíš.
Now go climb on employee 419's desk.
Na stôl vyliesť, OK. 419 to bolo? Počkaj, 400... Niečo sa mi nezdalo, pardon. 419, kde je 419? Dobre, 419...
Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up.
Kam ideme?
Now give me a few clicks on door 416.
416, kde to je?
We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again!
Yes. Kopírka. Počkaj, je tu iba jedna kopírka na celý tento kancel? Kde to je?
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430!
Yes!
We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. You really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now? What were you thinking?
Akože bol som trošku idiot, mal si pravdu. OK, to sme zase vybavili ďalšiu potrebnú vec, už to nemusíme nikdy robiť, paráda. Dobre, takže teraz ideme stále po jeho slovách.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Doprava pôjdeme raz, nebojte ľudia, ideme pekne postupne. Takže, to nás vezme do zasadačky. Tu sme už videli.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Oh hej, musíme nájsť odpoveď. Ale... ideme sem.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
OK. Ale vieš čo, mne sa tam páči. No, takže. Ono sa to nezdá.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet.
Ale je tu.
No reason to still be here.
Ale prosím ťa, dôvod tu je, prečo tu byť. Veď je to krásne, nie? Nepáči sa ti to?
No? It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet.
Sedieť, ja stojím iba.
At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Ešte niečo povieš?
Are you really still in the broom closet?
Yeah.
Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Ty si zmetený, ja som zmetený. Ešte niečo?
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever.
Myslíš?
I never would have thought to mention it.
Ale máš nejako veľa slov k tomu, že to je také bezvýznamné. A mne sa tu páči. Paráda.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
Ako? Prečo by to našli také podivné, veď? Je to pekné?
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid.
Hey!
He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is.
Hey!
That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
No, tak každý máme svoje problémy, nie? Aj ty máš svoje problémy, ty iba neustále kecáš hore.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard.
Okay.
Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose.
Ale nikto tu nie je.
Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead.
Nie sme pri počítači.
To any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Ešte niečo? Myslím, že už skončil, ak si dobre pamätám.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of idiots. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Už myslím, že skončil. Dobre. Poďme na to.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
Ideme
office.
dole.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my coworkers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Oh.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I'm real. Please, just someone tell me I'm real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh, nie. Už nie, Stanley.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
A tú sanitku zavolala? Asi nie. A sme zase tu.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Ja neviem.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Hej. Oh. Takže tam sa dá ísť, keď chceme niečo asi z Ultra Deluxe. Dobre. Zatiaľ tam nejdeme. Pôjdeme zatiaľ sa držať týchto cest.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his
Dobre. Vieme dobre, kam ideme. Tak sa upokoj.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of despair, Stanley decided to go, oh no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
OK, dobre. Tak to trošku urýchlime, poďme na to 2, 8, 4, 5.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't helpful.
Ja ti dám, čo je zdravé.
Relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Vypreviti!
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Ďakujem. Ja ti dám tú pokojujúcu hudbu. Poďme dole. Ešte párkrát to uvidíme. Ale myslím si, že prečo nie. Tak. Dobre.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Zdrháme.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Že? Ale prosím ťa, je tam napísané utiecť.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Drháme.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Presne tak. Oh. Oh. Oh! Žijeme.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his death, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Uh-oh.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Ani nie. Ja ako žijem stále. Aj.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Všetko to je naplánované. Reviti, všetko nám ovládajú. A ten sound. Solitér! Tak niektoré ide aj vypínať, okej. Dobre sa zapamätať. Kabinety. OK, model design, artworky. OK, všetci ste úžasní. Voice work. Keván! Ten je super, hej. Že to vydržal a nezbláznil sa. OK. Pracovňa. Galéria. Aká bojová zóna? OK, ľudia, akože našli sme... Bude mať kapibary táto hra? Toto sa mi páči. Máme doslova artbook tejto hry v rámci hry. Dve možnosti. Poznávate to trošku? Poznávate? Toto sú tie dve, to je tých dvojov dverí. Počkaj, akože tam je fakt nejaká ventilačka. The confusion ending. To si musím zapamätať. OK. To si musím zapamätať, aby sme to vyskúšali. Žiadnu šachtu si nepamätám. Aj. To nefunguje. Čo je toto? Sending model. Escape menu. Všetko si naplánovali tí autori. Trailery, OK. Teraz otázka, ako to reštartujem? Výťah, OK. Ešte toto ale prezrieme, kde sa dá. Naša kancelária. Prečo je tu 3-krát? No dobre. Je to pekné vidieť. Čo je tam? Počkaj, čo je tamto? Kancelária šéfa. Počkaj, toto môže byť dôležité, čo tu vidíme. Narration.
Then he pushed the number 4.
Číslo 4. OK. Dobre. Viete, čo je najhoršie na tejto sérii? Zapamätať si, čo všetko sme spravili a čo nie. Lebo táto hra, tá má toho hromadu. OK.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
OK. Tak, dobre, no. Ďakujem, pani rozprávačka.
Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save those two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Ow. Ow. Môžeme... Tak dobre ľudia. Myslím, že na prvú epizódu stačí. Zažili sme pár už aj bešuge veci, ale na budúce pokračujeme, lebo zďaleka nekončíme. Ďakujem za sledovanie prvej epizódy. Prajem pekný deň, príjemné hranie. Majte sa.